The accident. The ship floated quietly above the city skyline of Earth, a human warship carrying both humans and their alien guests. Its steel walls glowed with faint blue light, and every corridor hummed with the steady rhythm of engines. Inside the command chamber, a strange device sat on the table, pulsing with soft alien energy. It looked like a small box with glowing lines running across its surface, something far beyond human design. Around the table stood soldiers and scientists, all staring at the object with curiosity. The humans had found it during an earlier mission, buried inside an abandoned alien vault. No one fully understood it, not even the scientists, yet it had been brought here for testing. Among the group was a young alien girl, her skin smooth and purple, her hair long and white like silver threads. She wore a fitted outfit decorated with green and gold patterns, a sign of her noble origin. Though she was dignified, her wide violet eyes showed a hint of nervousness. She stood close to the device, watching carefully. On the other side of the table stood a human soldier, tall and broad, with scars etched across his arm. His name was not spoken here, but his presence carried weight. He had been chosen to assist in the test, holding a remote-like controller that had been connected to the device. His eyes narrowed at the strange alien technology, unsure of what pressing a single button might do. The alien girl tilted her head slightly, her lips parting. "Be careful," she said softly, her voice trembling just enough for him to notice. The soldier gave her a short nod. He had faced battles, storms, and monsters, but this was different. This was unknown, and sometimes the unknown could be far more dangerous than a battlefield. The room fell silent. Every human and alien present held their breath as the soldier raised the controller. His thumb hovered over a single glowing button. The device on the table pulsed brighter as though waiting. "Now," one of the human scientists whispered. The soldier pressed. At first, nothing happened. The room stayed quiet, the lights steady. But then a wave of soft light burst from the device, spreading outward like a ripple of water. It touched the walls, the floor, the people. And then, it stopped. All eyes turned to the alien girl. She gasped, her hands shooting up to her chest. Her eyes widened in shock, her mouth opening but no words escaping. Her body trembled and she pointed at herself, her long fingers pressing against her skin. Her cheeks turned a deep, glowing shade of red. What did you do?" she cried, her voice filled with alarm. Her wide eyes darted to the soldier who stood frozen with the controller still in his hand. The humans around the table looked at her in confusion. The soldiers leaned closer, whispering. The scientists quickly scribbled notes. But no one could deny the truth. The device had reacted with her and only her. The alien girl shook her head, her hair falling across her face. She pointed again at her chest, her blush spreading even deeper, so strong that even her purple skin could not hide it. Her whole body seemed to radiate embarrassment. The soldier's eyes widened. He had not expected this. His thumb slipped off the controller and he quickly stepped back. I didn't mean to," he began, his words stumbling. But the translator device crackled, misinterpreting his voice. What came out in the alien language was not an apology, but something that sounded bold, almost suggestive. The alien girl's face turned even redder. Her hands shot higher, covering her chest as she stared at him in disbelief. "You dare say that?" she shouted, her voice breaking in shame. The human soldier blinked, confused. Around them, the alien guards let out gasps, while the human crew exchanged nervous looks. Some even struggled not to laugh. The soldier lowered the controller, holding his hands up in defense. "It was a mistake," he said firmly. But the translator twisted again, turning his words into something that made the alien girl's jaw drop. Her violet eyes shimmered with tears of pure embarrassment. She turned her head away, covering her face with both hands. Her body trembled, not from fear, but from shame so deep she could hardly look at him. The device on the table pulsed again, glowing brighter. Its energy hummed across the chamber, as though it had not finished its work. The alien girl's body shimmered faintly with the same light, her outline glowing against the steel walls. "Something's wrong," one of the scientists whispered, his voice tight with panic. "It's reacting to her, only her." The girl's chest rose and fell quickly, her breath sharp, her eyes full of confusion. She looked back at the human soldier, pointing at herself again with shaking hands as if demanding an answer. Her lips trembled, caught between anger and humiliation. The soldier clenched his jaw. He had been in battles before, but never one like this. He could face an enemy with a gun in his hand, but he had no weapon here. Only a mistake. Only shame. He stepped forward slowly, his voice calm. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he said. Again, the translator twisted the words. And again her face turned brighter than before. Her hands pressed against her skin as she stepped back, her whole body burning with embarrassment. The chamber filled with whispers, every soldier, scientist, and alien watching the scene unfold. The accident had begun as a simple test, but it had turned into something else entirely. The alien girl stood frozen, her breath fast, her cheeks glowing, her eyes refusing to meet his. And the human soldier stood opposite her, the controller still in his hand, realizing that this small mistake had changed everything. The reaction. The chamber was heavy with silence. Only the faint hum of the alien device filled the air. Its light faded slowly, leaving behind a trail of whispers and uneasy glances. All eyes were on the alien girl. She stood frozen, her hands covering herself, her wide violet eyes darting from face to face. Her cheeks burned with a glow so deep it seemed unnatural. She looked at the human soldier again, trembling, pointing at her chest, her lips parting but no clear words escaping. The human soldier lowered the controller carefully, his large hands shaking just slightly. He opened his mouth to explain again, but the translator betrayed him once more. The words that came out twisted into something bold, almost teasing. The alien girl gasped, her jaw dropping. How could you say that?" Her voice cracked, sharp and high, and the sound echoed around the steel walls. The guards flinched, stepping forward, but she raised her hand, halting them. She did not want protection. She wanted answers. The human soldier frowned, his brow tightening as confusion spread across his face. He looked to the translator unit at his belt, realizing too late that the machine was misinterpreting every word. He sighed, but the sound only made the girl's blush deepen. Around the room, whispers spread like fire. Some aliens pressed their hands against their mouths, hiding their laughter. Others whispered in shock, their eyes darting between the human and the girl. Even a few humans shifted uncomfortably, unsure whether to step in or stay silent. The girl's embarrassment grew heavier. Her chest rose and fell quickly, her breathing uneven, her lips trembling as if every sound she made might break her pride. She lowered her head, strands of her white hair falling forward to hide her face, but her glowing cheeks betrayed her. She whispered something in her own language, too soft for the translator to catch. Her hands clutched the fabric of her outfit as if holding herself together. When she finally raised her head again, her eyes locked on the soldier with a mix of anger and shame. You made me. Like this," she said, her voice trembling with both fury and humiliation. The soldier took a slow step forward. His voice was calm, careful. "It was not my—" But again the translator twisted it, her eyes widened. She staggered back a step, covering her mouth with both hands as if she could not believe what she had just heard. Her entire face turned crimson against her violet skin. Her body shivered, not from fear, but from a wave of embarrassment so strong it seemed to weaken her knees. The scientists leaned closer to their screens, muttering to one another. One of them whispered urgently, "The device is still linked to her. It is not just a reaction. Something deeper has changed." The alien girl's glow pulsed faintly again, the same light that had burst from the device earlier. Her outline shimmered for a second as though her very body was unstable. She gasped, pressing her hands against herself again, trembling harder than before. The soldier felt his chest tighten. He wanted to move closer, to calm her, to show her that this was not intentional. But the guards stepped in, raising their weapons, their glowing eyes warning him not to try. The alien girl shook her head quickly, waving the guards back. "No," she whispered, her voice strained. "Do not touch me. No one touch me." Her eyes darted back to the soldier, glowing faint with unshed tears. "Why only me?" she asked, almost like a plea. The soldier had no answer. His lips pressed into a tight line, his hands heavy at his sides. He had been a warrior all his life, but there was no training for this. No battlefield could prepare him for the sight of an alien girl trembling, hiding her face, humiliated beyond words because of something he had done. The crowd of watchers shifted again. Some leaned forward, their curiosity growing. Others whispered predictions. Perhaps the human had cursed her. Perhaps the accident was not an accident at all. Fear and suspicion mixed with laughter and disbelief. The girl covered her face with her hands again, her voice muffled as she whispered, "I cannot bear this. Not in front of them." The soldier's chest ached at her words. He stepped forward once more, his deep voice steady. "I will fix it." But the translator spat out something else entirely, something that made the girl's eyes widen again. Her hands fell to her sides as she stared at him in shock. Her blush deepened until it seemed her skin itself was glowing red. You cannot just say that to me," she shouted, her voice cracking with shame. The crowd erupted into noise. Some aliens laughed openly now, clutching their sides. Others shouted, demanding answers. The scientist barked orders to shut the device down, but the glow around her body only pulsed harder. The girl turned away suddenly, her long white hair whipping across her face. Her hands pressed against the steel wall, her back shaking with uneven breaths. She wanted to disappear, to escape from the endless stares and the laughter that burned her pride to ashes. The soldier took another step closer, his shadow falling across her. His eyes softened, and though his words would surely be twisted again, he spoke anyway. "I did not mean for this to happen." The translator fizzed and spat, twisting his honesty once more into something bold. The girl shuddered, her shoulders tense. But this time she did not shout. She only pressed her forehead against the cold wall, whispering to herself in her own tongue. The chamber felt colder, heavier. Every second stretched like an eternity, and then the device pulsed again. Its glow spread wider, humming like a heartbeat. The girl's body lit up faintly with the same light, her outline shimmering as if her form itself was changing. She gasped and clutched herself once more, turning back toward the soldier with desperate eyes. Her voice broke. "Make it stop." The soldier's hands clenched around the useless controller. His jaw tightened. He had no idea how, but as the light grew stronger, one thing was clear. This accident was far from over. The consequence. The chamber lights flickered as the alien device pulsed again. The glow that wrapped around the girl's body shimmered brighter, spilling across her skin like liquid fire. The room grew tense, every watcher leaning forward, waiting for something none of them understood. The alien girl gasped, clutching her chest, her breath sharp and broken. Her violet eyes glistened with confusion and fear. Her face still burned red with embarrassment, but now it was joined by something worse, panic. "Her body is still reacting," one scientist shouted, staring at the monitors. Strange alien symbols danced across the screens, lines of energy twisting like living code. "It is rewriting itself." The girl staggered backward, pressing against the steel wall for support. Her white hair spilled across her shoulders, glowing faintly with the same strange light. She shook her head, whispering, "This cannot be. This cannot happen to me." The human soldier gripped the controller tighter, his jaw hard. His eyes never left her trembling form. He could see how her body shook, how her lips quivered, how the shame and fear mixed inside her like a storm. He stepped forward, his deep voice steady. "Hold on. I will—" But again the translator betrayed him. His calm promise twisted into bold words. The alien girl gasped, her eyes snapping to him, her cheeks blazing crimson. The guards raised their weapons, uncertain, waiting for her order, but she shook her head desperately. "No, stay back," she cried, her voice cracking. Her gaze fell to the human again, as if she could not look anywhere else. Her hand shook as she pointed at herself, then at him, her lips forming words that the translator finally caught.
"Why does it only answer to me?"
"Why are you tied to this?" The scientists shouted over one another, their voices panicked. The device was never meant for humans. It should not even activate in his presence. And yet, look, the link is between them. The soldier froze. His broad shoulders tightened as realization struck. This was not just an accident. His touch, his presence had somehow tied him to her, and now she could not escape it. The girl's breath grew faster. Her blush deepened with every second, her violet skin glowing brighter under the strange light. She pressed her hands against her face, her voice breaking. I cannot endure this. Everyone is watching." The crowd's whispers spread like wildfire. Some laughed cruelly, enjoying her humiliation. Others stared in awe, realizing they were witnessing something forbidden. Bonds like this between a human and one of her kind were unheard of, unthinkable. The soldier felt the weight of her words, the weight of her shame. He had fought on battlefields where death waited in every shadow, but this was heavier. This was not just about survival. This was about her dignity, her pride, her very identity. The device pulsed again, stronger this time. The glow around her body surged, spreading outward in waves. The chamber walls rattled, sparks bursting from the panels. Alarms screamed, their shrill sound cutting through the air. "She cannot contain it much longer," a scientist shouted. "The energy is destabilizing. If it grows, the ship itself could be torn apart." The alien girl's knees buckled. She collapsed against the wall, her hands clutching her chest, her body trembling violently. Tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Her pride was too strong, even in this moment of weakness. She turned her head toward the soldier, her lips trembling. "Why you?" she whispered. The soldier took a step forward, ignoring the guards, ignoring the chaos. His voice came out low, calm, steady. "Because I was the one who touched it. Because I was near you when it awakened." The translator caught the words almost correctly this time. Her eyes widened, shimmering with confusion and something deeper. She shook her head. Then stay near me," the guards gasped. The crowd erupted into noise again. But the human did not hesitate. He crossed the chamber, moving to her side. The glow around her pulsed wildly as he reached her. But the moment his hand brushed her arm, the light steadied. The scientist froze, staring at the monitors. "He stabilizes her," one whispered. "He is the anchor." The alien girl's breath slowed. Her trembling eased. Her body still glowed faintly. Her cheeks still burned with deep embarrassment, but the wild energy calmed under his presence. Her wide violet eyes lifted to meet his, filled with shame but also relief. The crowd quieted, their whispers fading into stunned silence. They had expected disaster, humiliation, maybe even death. But instead they saw something new. A bond neither human nor alien had ever seen before. The warlord of the ship council, seated high above the chamber, leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. His deep voice cut through the silence. "Impossible. Humans cannot bond with us. It is forbidden. It is unnatural." The alien girl's voice shook as she spoke, but she did not move away from the human. "And yet, it has happened." Her blush deepened, her eyes lowering, her hands gripping the fabric of her outfit as if trying to hide. "I never wanted this. Not like this." Her voice broke, quiet, almost pleading. "But now, I cannot let him go." The soldier stood beside her, chains of light still shimmering faintly around them both. His face was calm, his jaw tight, his eyes steady. He had no answers, no excuses. But he knew one thing. He would not walk away from her now. The chamber felt colder, heavier, every watcher frozen by the weight of what they had seen. An accident had become something more. A mistake had become a bond, and that bond was changing everything. The chamber smelled of burnt wires and cold metal. Sparks still hissed from broken panels where the alien device had overloaded, but the glow that had once shaken the ship now rested like a soft flame around the girl and the human. She stood trembling, her hands pressed against her chest, her violet eyes locked on him. The blush had not left her face. It burned deeper now, not just from embarrassment, but from the strange weight of being tied to him in front of everyone. Her breath came fast and shallow, but each time his presence neared her, the glow softened, steady and calm. The scientist whispered, their voices sharp with disbelief. "It responds only to him. His touch cancels the surge. He is her anchor." The council members shifted uneasily in their seats above, their glowing eyes fixed on the human, their voices cold. "This bond is unnatural. It should not exist. Sever it at once, but no one knew how." The human soldier did not flinch beneath their stares. His face was calm, though his jaw was tight. He stood tall beside her, watching as she shook, her pride battling against her shame. He had seen fear before, but this was different. This was someone strong forced into weakness, someone proud forced into humiliation, and he could not look away. The girl lifted her head slightly, her lips parting. Why do you not step back?" she whispered, her voice small, fragile. He looked down at her, his deep voice steady. "Because if I step away, you will fall." The translator delivered the words correctly this time. Her eyes widened, her blush deepened, and she turned her face aside, hiding behind her long white hair. Her shoulders shook. She whispered so low it almost vanished. "Do not say such things in front of them." But she did not let go of his arm. Her slim fingers clung to him, desperate for balance. The crowd stirred, whispers spreading like wildfire. Some mocked, some sneered, but others watched in silence, struck by something they could not name. The warlord above slammed his fist on the railing. His voice shook the chamber. "Enough, this is disgraceful. Break the link or I will have the human executed." The girl flinched at the words, her whole body stiffening. She turned quickly, placing herself between the warlord's gaze and the human. Her voice cracked but held firm. "No, if you kill him, the link will destroy me as well." The chamber erupted into chaos. Guards shouted. Council members hissed. But none of them dared move closer. The glow around her body pulsed sharply, warning them all of the danger. The soldier's brow furrowed. He did not understand the alien politics, but he understood her words. For the first time he realized this accident had bound more than her dignity. It had bound her life. The girl lowered her head again, her voice trembling. "Do you see what you have done to me? Before them all, I am humiliated, bound, shamed." Her cheeks burned brighter. She bit her lip, her pride shaking like glass about to break. The soldier stepped closer, his voice low. "Then hate me if you must. But I will not leave you." Her eyes snapped to him wide and wet. She gasped, her lips trembling. For a moment, the embarrassment wavered, replaced by something deeper. She turned quickly, trying to hide her face again, whispering, "Foolish human." The glow pulsed, but it did not surge out of control. Instead, it spread softer, warmer, as though the bond itself was stabilizing. The scientists stared at their screens, unable to look away. "It adapts," one whispered. "Their connection is no longer unstable, it is synchronizing." The crowd fell quiet. Even the mocking voices died away. The image before them was too strange, too powerful. A human and an alien girl standing together, bound not by choice but by something neither could break. The warlord's voice came again, filled with anger. "This bond will corrupt her. She is noble blood. She cannot belong to a human." The girl lifted her head suddenly. Her blush remained, her shame heavy, but her voice cut sharp through the silence. "I do not belong to anyone. Not even you," the crowd gasped. Her words were dangerous, words no one had dared speak before. Yet she had spoken them in front of the council, in front of the warlord, in front of them all. She trembled, pressing herself closer to the soldier. Her voice lowered, but it carried enough for all to hear. "And yet, in this moment I need him, no one else." The soldier's chest tightened. He looked at her, seeing not just embarrassment but courage buried beneath it. She was shaking, her pride torn, but she still stood. He placed his hand lightly on her shoulder. The glow steadied once more. She turned her head, her cheeks still crimson, but her eyes meeting his for the briefest second before she looked away. The chamber held its breath. The council had no command for this. The guards had no weapon against it. The crowd had no voice to break the silence. The bond had been born of an accident. But now it was undeniable, and in that silence, both human and alien girl understood the truth. Whatever this was, however embarrassing, however humiliating, it was theirs now. The turning point. The chamber was still yet heavy with the weight of countless eyes. The alien girl stood with her cheeks glowing red, her violet skin shimmering faintly with the strange light. The human soldier remained at her side, tall and steady, his presence the only thing keeping the unstable energy calm. Around them silence pressed hard. No one laughed now. No one mocked. Even the cruel whispers had died away. The crowd of soldiers, scientists, and council members stared at the pair with disbelief, their minds unable to accept what their eyes had seen. A human and a noble alien girl, bonded by mistake yet unbroken. The warlord slammed his fist against the railing again, his voice like thunder rolling through the chamber. "This is blasphemy. This is shame. She is ours, not his. The bond must end now." But the girl lifted her head slowly, her long white hair slipping back to reveal her crimson cheeks. Her breath shook, but her voice, though soft, carried through the hall. "It cannot end. Even if I wanted it to, it will not release me. Only his presence steadies me." Gasps rippled through the crowd. The admission was clear, undeniable. The human soldier turned his gaze upward at the warlord. His deep eyes held no fear. His voice was calm, almost cold. "You cannot undo what has already happened. You can kill me, yes. But if you do, she will fall with me." The chamber erupted into chaos. Some shouted for his death. Others shouted to protect the girl. The council hissed, their voices sharp and angry, but none of them moved closer. None of them dared. The alien girl trembled, her pride still torn between shame and strength. Her blush burned so brightly it seemed carved into her skin. But she did not step away from him. She did not push him aside. She pressed closer, hiding half her face behind his broad frame, her violet eyes peeking through strands of her hair. She whispered, her voice breaking but brave, "If I must bear this shame, I will not bear it alone. I choose him." The chamber froze. Her words cut deeper than any blade. She had spoken the unthinkable, choosing a human before her own people, before her own council. The crowd erupted again, their voices clashing. Some called her a traitor. Some shouted in disbelief. Yet others, silent and shaken, felt something different stir in their chests. A question. A possibility. The warlord's voice broke through the noise, full of fury. "You disgrace your bloodline. You disgrace our kind. A single human cannot stand equal to us." The human soldier's voice rose against him, sharp and clear. "Then look around you. Look at what has already happened. You tried to make her kneel, and instead she stands. You tried to humiliate me, and instead your people see your weakness. You wanted fear, and yet the only trembling here is yours." The warlord's eyes blazed, his body tense with rage. But the words struck true. His authority, built on power and terror, cracked before the crowd. His beast was gone. His command was shaken. And now a single human's defiance and a girl's choice had cut deeper than any weapon. The girl's body still glowed faintly, but it no longer pulsed wildly. It was steady now, bound to the soldier's presence. She lowered her head, her voice softer, almost fragile. "I never wanted this. I never wanted to be tied to anyone. But now that I am, I will not deny it." She turned her eyes toward him, cheeks still crimson, and whispered for only him to hear. "Do not let go." His chest tightened. He gave a small nod, his voice low. "Never." The council sat frozen, unable to answer. The guards shifted uneasily, their weapons trembling in their hands. The crowd, once filled with laughter, now looked on with awe and confusion. A mistake had grown into something unstoppable. The warlord finally sank back into his seat, his fury twisting into silence. He knew the truth. If he ordered the human's death, he risked losing her. If he let them stand, he risked losing control. Either way, his power was broken. The chamber no longer belonged to him. The alien girl pressed closer to the soldier, her body still burning with shame, her cheeks refusing to cool. She whispered again, almost hiding her face in his arm. "I hate this. But maybe I hate it less with you." His lips tightened in the faintest of smiles. He did not speak. He did not need to. His presence was enough. The crowd began to murmur again, their voices shifting. Some still cursed the bond. Others whispered of destiny. A few, quietly, almost fearfully, wondered if this accident was not a curse, but a beginning. The ship above the city remained silent, its engines humming steady, as though even the steel itself listened. The accident that had begun with a button press had shaken more than one girl's pride. It had shaken a people. It had shaken a rule. And somewhere deep inside that silence, a new story had begun. One where a human's mistake became a bond no one could break. A bond that turned shame into strength. A bond that turned fear into defiance. A bond that could change the galaxy.